Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do tech
good. Ow. We're doing tech good.
We almost did it perfectly, thank you.
Yeah, we'll get it next time. Hey guys, and speaking of doing tech good, Pantheon.io is allowing us to do that all year by sponsoring the show for season 4. So thank you, Pantheon. If you don't know Pantheon, they are a platform for Drupal, for WordPress. They come with a dev, test, and live environment, so you can easily test your stuff before you deploy it and push it upstream. It's easy to add team members. You could use it with Git or SFTP. If you want to do that. Easy to deploy security updates. It's a super cool platform, so go check it out at pantheon.io.
I just love the free ice cream. That's what I love.
Yeah, and they have free ice cream on Wednesdays, so you could get your Sunday on Wednesday. Boom.
Oh, wow. Nice. And I just want to give a big thanks to Vincent and Pratik for really, giving us a nice warm welcome there, and for all of the speakers that talked to us, for all the speakers that didn't talk to us but still put all the work that they did into having doing workshops and presentations, for all of the attendees and the Straz Center for actually allowing them to be there. ViewConf was amazing. I hope that next year, wherever it happens to be, I know they're voting on it, by the way. Our listeners, if you go to their Twitter account, you can actually vote where the next one will be. I think it's like New York, Boston. I may be wrong about Boston, but just go.
I heard people talk about Boston.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you. If you don't mind me jumping into, I would also want to say thank you to Vincent and Pratik for having us, and the conference was amazing, and we met so many great people. And thank you for everybody for participating. That all the speakers that we got to interview, it was amazing.
Yeah, and we got to sit on the same couch that Marilyn Monroe used to sit on.
And Marilyn Manson sat on, before they went out. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You can see the couch in the videos, by the way.
Yeah, check it out. We'll put a link to the show notes. But yeah, thank you, everybody. That was a great event. But with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and welcome our guest today? We have an amazing guest that we are super excited to talk to. We have president and co-founder of the Suncoast Developers Guild Academy. We have Toni Warren. Welcome to the show, Toni.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And I'm just going to also say thank you to ViewConf, because we had a lot of our alumni and students that participated, and they just had a blast. So I'm really lucky to have that in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it was an amazing show.
And I'm really lucky to be here. So thank you.
Oh, our absolute pleasure. And where you were joining us from? Tampa, right?
Yeah, so I'm actually in my office here in beautiful St. Pete. I don't know if you can see the sun setting, but it's gorgeous. But yeah, we're located in St. Petersburg, but we serve all of Tampa Bay since we're the only immersive code school in Tampa Bay.
That's awesome. And are you actually from Tampa, or are you from somewhere else?
No, not originally. I am from Richmond, Virginia, and I moved to Florida about 10 years ago, and Tampa Bay specifically about 8. I was only expecting, I got my MBA at University of Tampa. I was only expecting to stay here just a few years, honestly. That's my style, is I kind of like to go and immerse myself in new cities and get a feel for the culture and then go explore new places. But this place has really got me grounded, and the weather you cannot beat, but more importantly, the people. And then the tech scene has been extremely welcoming and friendly. And so here I am. And now as co-founder of the Academy here, I think I'm here for the long haul. So we'll see.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been such a amazing amount of growth that's happened within the community here within the past 15 to 20 years of tech, and really within the last 5 years, it's just blossomed so much. It's incredible and really inspiring.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more.
Yeah, and I mean, and St. Pete's, just for all our listeners, St. Pete's amazing. There's great music venues. There's great food. Like we were talking about, there's tech. There's comedy shows that come through. There's a big art scene. There's like 6, maybe more museums just in St. Pete. Yeah. It's amazing. There's a whole arts district. There's tons of murals. So it's an amazing place to come and visit. And I'm a big supporter of Suncoast Developers Guild. If you're interested, it's a great place to come and learn. But we're going to talk more about that. I'm just excited to have Toni on. Yep.
Hey, you said you also that you were a traveler, and I wanted to ask you about a few of these things in your Twitter tag. That one of the things that you do cite is a traveler, and you have a number. Where have you gone? Let's talk about the number of places you've gone and some of the experiences you've had.
Gosh, I love traveling. I love traveling for music, food, people, and fun. You know, I'd say probably my most recent favorite travels was when the Suncoast Developers Guild was opening. So when we were in transition from working from a large code school to forming our own local not-for-profit code school. And I took 6 weeks because I knew, took 6 weeks at the end of 2017 because I knew last year, 2018, was going to be pretty grinding and pretty tough as far as, opening this and getting through all the state regulations. And I did a lot of soul searching, but I also did just a lot of personal building through travel. And one of the other things I did was actually go and visit a lot of founders at different code schools. So I combined all my interests for traveling. So I went and saw some concerts some places. I went and visited family and friends. And then I also went and visited other tech hubs and code schools because I love what we're doing here. I think we do things very uniquely in Tampa Bay, but I also like to explore and see what others are doing. So of course we like to focus locally, but also bring the best of what we explore, outside of the Tampa Bay tech scene and see what we can integrate in, but also share what we're doing here with other communities. So my highlights were visiting, Denver, Boulder. Their tech scene is just blooming and bumping. I mean, it's not blooming, it's just bumping along right now. Visited San Francisco and Oakland. Did San Diego. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has a spectacular tech scene. Richmond, Virginia, they're getting there. Their startup scene is super cool. And they're about to have some great stuff happening, being close to DC with the Amazon headquarters. They're trying to figure out how to do some tech training there. And then I also visit the Dominican Republic. Unfortunately, no code schools there that I visited, but I got to dance on the beach to my favorite band, and that was a bonus. So,
who's the favorite band?
They're out of Philly. I've been seeing them for about 15, 16 years now. They're called the Disco Biscuits, and they're like electronic dance music. But what's really cool about them is they play things inverted and dyslexic, and no show is ever the same. So it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. Do you play an instrument yourself?
No, I dance.
You did. I got you. Okay.
I'm a proud supporter. Yes.
Yeah, you're a consumer and enjoyer of music.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's the best part of music. That's cool. Do you mind if I ask you, what's some of the more valuable points that you got from talking to some of these locations around the globe? In the realm of a code school, like when you talk to somebody that you consider a peer, this is what were some of the things that you thought that they were doing good that you could bring back to Tampa?
Totally. I asked a lot of the founders some of the same questions, and I also just did a lot of observing. And one thing is for sure, and I knew we were doing it right in Tampa Bay, but it only emphasized a lot of our decisions that we made. But one is the community of developers, the community of the chamber, the city, the county, being involved, the employers, the advisory board, mentors. That is essential. That's a key piece. And Suncoast Developers Guild was originally formed by our CEO as a collective of designers, developers, and programmers. And it was an online space via Slack to where developers could go and share their knowledge and learn at all different skill levels. Really important for communities to have that because as we all know in technology, there's not journals, there's not professors, there's not textbooks about this stuff, especially for when there's a new framework or when there's a new update or enhancement. It's really leaning on your peers and the support of other developers that are doing this. The communities that have that collaboration and support that, they grow much quicker. So the developers are able to help and support each other, but also the companies are able to build more products faster because there's just more talent there and people that are excited about doing it. And I would say also the other piece to it was was how they would integrate with the employers. And a lot of that was through mentorship, was through advisory, was through them actually investing in that talent, in that education and understanding. And what Suncoast Developers Guild does now too is it provides a physical space for that community. So just right now we have the React Native group that's doing a meetup just across the room, and we have GraphQL working with one of our hiring partners, our GraphQL meetup at Calio, that they're doing a meetup right now. And those are really essential that we have that community support. So I saw that. And the other piece to also what Brian was saying is about St. Pete is where the creatives thrive here. I mean, I love it. I say I have the best of both worlds because I live in Tampa, but our school is in St. Pete, and St. Pete is definitely where that creative space is, but we're also where the technology is. So we're able to go and do a field trip. We're actually walking over to one of our advisory board companies called Presence, and the founder and their developers are taking time out of their day to showcase, what they do, how they grow, what their work environment's like. And I noticed that also with a lot of the other code schools, that they're in places that are walkable, they're accessible, they're close to that tech scene and the creative environment. And then just lastly on that, I asked some of what they would do differently, or if they had any advice going forward. And a developers boot camp, a code school, this type of model, this 3 months intensive model, it's tough. It's very challenging. It's very challenging for students, but it's also very challenging for the staff and the instructors. It's draining. And so it's hard. And so really relying on that community to, again, just to provide that mentorship, not only during the program, but also after the program to help them be successful. So just support all around was what I saw that's really key.
Yeah, it's really paramount, I believe, to not only just have the vehicle for these people for anyone to learn how to do this, but the really important thing is having that support system behind you to see it through, to help you learn how to communicate with the community and learn how to talk to employers and know what employees are looking for. It's not that you're holding anybody's hand until they get a job, but you're there as support, and you're really providing an amazing service to help these people get the jobs that they deserve after something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're training them to be successful as junior developers in the workforce. So no, we're not holding their hands. Yes, of course, we provide them with milestones and guidelines, and we're there to answer questions, but much like a senior developer. And we teach them to think like an engineer. We teach them how to problem solve, because realistically, when they're out there in the workforce, that's their role, that's their job. And that is very, very important. And something that we do pretty unique here at the Suncoast Developers Guild is, of course, we teach the tech stuff. That's what we're doing. We're a trade school for web developers, and that's very important. But something our advisory board members and our hiring network consistently says to us when we say, what could we be doing better? Of course, we're always constantly asking for feedback on our curriculum, and it's not that we don't do this. It's not that we can't do this better. It's just making sure that they're always looking for various soft skills. So they'll say, oh, we just love how they're able to jump right in and dive into new projects, or they can do team or independent. So 4 out of the 5 days we focus on the tech skills, and on Fridays actually is soft skills and career support days. Okay. And yeah, that's where we do the guest lectures, the field trips, but also we're just teaching them about how to be an awesome human, how to work in team environments, how to be successful, how to really be successful in their long-term career journey. And consistently through feedback from our students, alumni, and through our employers, that's always oftentimes the most valuable. They know they're coming for the tech skills, but it's kind of like that's where we really wow them, and that's where we are a little bit different, is with that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I love about the Guild, is how much they really work with, the people that are there learning. What I'm curious about is with you is how you got into it, and like what led you down this path and what keeps you in it. Because I know from just coming there that you, Catherine, the people that are teaching there, you come in early, you stay late, you're there sometimes on weekends. It's not a you go into work and you're done. It's something you truly have to passion for, and I feel like there has to be some story behind that led you to have that passion.
Yeah, I mean, huge shout out to the team. We're all very heavily invested in this. I say that we have the best developers teaching our students, and that's very true. But we also have the best teachers that truly care about our students and our community, and that's the difference. There's lots of really amazing developers out there, but ours are very integrated into the community and very integrated into our students and their success. So thank you for highlighting that, Brian. That's really sweet, but very true. And for me, what got me into this was I was much like our students. So we primarily are a school for career starters and career shifters. They're looking to get in the tech world or the development world. They're not sure how to do it. Maybe they've Googled, maybe they tried on their own. Maybe they've gone through traditional computer science programs, but they can't pass a code test. Whatever it may be, they're moving into this tech field. And that was like me. I was a career shifter. I was in hospitality for 7 years before this, before I got my MBA. And there wasn't code schools when I went to get my MBA. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I love my job. I had a great job, but very much like why we see students come into our school, I was looking for something just a little bit more rewarding. Like I love making people have fun and having great experiences, but I needed to do more. I needed to make a bigger impact. I wanted to reduce my carbon footprint, just be a better, again, human. I wanted to work with creative and intelligent people, which totally did have that in the hospitality industry, but also with workplaces. So just, allowing you really to think and thrive and be around others to flourish. But the work-life balance was a big piece to it for me as well. I didn't have a holiday off in quite some time. I was working crazy hours. I was traveling a lot, and it really just wasn't sustainable. So that was that piece. And then also I kind of felt like I was a bit bored. I was ready to be challenged a little more. And as you all know, technology is constantly ever changing. So it's fun. Like you get to see what's new and what's different. So that is why I went back to get my MBA. Now, how I actually got into tech, that is all to my sister. I give her much credit, and also why I'm still doing this today is because I like to pay it forward. She kept saying, hey, Toni, there needs to be people like you. So my sister is Samantha Warren. On Twitter, it's @SamanthaToy. She created Style Tiles. She speaks on in the conference circuits quite some time. She's been at Converge, and I went to South by Southwest with her. And she is a creative director at Adobe now. But we were very different growing up. She was always behind the computer. I was more of like, kind of social butterfly. I was always begging her to play games with me or go out with me. And she was just, behind, typing away. And I said, it's just not for me. I don't see myself in the tech field. She said, no, they need you. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'm welcome or maybe even wanted there. Like, I don't know if I'm a fit. She's like, no, there needs to be people that can, not just be behind the computer, but cross-function amongst teams or clients or do different things. And she kind of was doing some buzzword like that I liked, like event planning or operations or different things. So I said, okay, I'll get into it. And so my first job out of my MBA was a marketing coordinator for a homegrown human capital management software solution here in Tampa based. It was on .NET and C#. And I really loved the work there, but it wasn't exactly what I needed. I was looking to do something a little bit more, and it wasn't exactly. I wanted to kind of combine my love for education, people, and tech. And that's really how I got into working in a code school. Was because I wanted to go be an educator, and I would want like the mentorship style of it. So after that, I moved into my role as running a code school, and I've been doing that since 2014. And why I'm still in it is because I saw the impact that this education has on people, and I say I really drank the Kool-Aid there because I'm a proponent of all types of education, whether it's whatever works for the individual, if it's traditional, if it's undergrad, if it's MBA, PhD, if it's a trade school. But what I saw was in 3 months, people were getting a very, very valuable and competitive skill set, and they were making an impact in the workforce immediately. And this was a big game changer. So for those, whether or not it be because they can't afford a 2 or 4 year program, the tuition or the living expenses during it, or maybe it is that they're career shifting and that they've got a family at home and they just can't do that for that long. Whatever it may be, in 3 months they come through, and then their average starting salary is $40,000 to $60,000. So our program costs $14,900. We also do various scholarships. But I mean, the ROI on that type of education is seriously a game changer. And then, of course, you know, if you look at the job market for programmers till 2030, I mean, the gap is not filled. It's like a negative unemployment rate right now in Tampa Bay. So it's very hard for companies to find developers. And so, you know, we're just doing a little part to be able to help make that. But it's really the people aspect and being able to give them a powerful education that makes them be able to, you know, be a little bit more relevant in their workforce. Yeah,
it must be so rewarding, not only to, you know, obviously it's a business. Businesses have profits, you know, you're trying to do stuff, but I mean, it's rewarding in the fact that you see these people, their lives change. That's, you know, the ROI here is not about, you know, the profit. It's about additionally the value that you bring to these people's lives. You know, it's not only a career, but you know, sometimes, like you said, you came from hospitality. People come from all different walks of life. One of our co-hosts, Janelle, went through, you know, the Iron Yard, which was previous, and you know, she came out the other side, and now, you know, she's doing conferences, she's doing this, she's doing that. It's amazing how the impact that you're providing to people.
Yeah, I'd even add too that I started the Figma meetup. It was yes, that was me that started, but you guys provide the space, and in turn, I networked and met people. And they then connected me with a local community, which then connected me with my new job.
Yeah.
Which Brian started today. Congratulations, Brian, on your first day of your new job.
Yeah, congratulations. And thank you for hosting the Figma meetup, because I mean, that's also that's such a resource to our community. It's, you know, supplemental to, we don't teach that, but our students need, and our alumni need to have resources like that for themselves to continue learning, for just to keep them engaged and meet other like-minded developers and individuals like you to be able to code with and do something that they're passionate about, but also for companies that are using that technology. And that's really important. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Janelle, the passion that she had, I mean, goodness gracious, she was living in Orlando and came and commuted. And I believe she was working in the restaurant industry in Orlando as well. And yeah, I mean, for whether it be just to change industry, or they're unemployed, or it's, you know, a start for them, it gives them access to something that right now isn't available in most traditional education institutions, and definitely not in Tampa Bay. I mean, we're the only ones that are teaching Ruby on Rails. We're the only ones that are teaching React. And then a lot of the meetups that people like Brian and other developers in the community are organizing on their own, volunteer time just to do, they're the only ones teaching that stuff that's really, really important for our companies. And honestly, unless you all, or the developers or the employee is taking it upon themselves to learn it, the employers can't figure out how to train them and do it. So that's where that's phase 2-ish of where we'd like to go, is to be able to help companies and developers get upskilled as well. And of course there's online learning. Big fan of, again, whatever works for the individual, but that human piece,
you can't replace that.
You can't, and if you and oftentimes, sometimes if someone comes and applies to our program, and during the interview process, they're like, you know what, I can just do this online. We say, yes, you can. You absolutely can. But if you're looking for the networking, the camaraderie, if you're looking for peers, if you're looking to have kind of like that, person over your shoulder saying, hey, you can do this, or try this mode, go even a little bit further with that, or hey, have you heard of this, or do you want to build this together? I mean, that's what it's about. And I think my favorite part of the guild, the community side of it, is we're actually taking over downstairs. So we're growing a little bit for our alumni, but also for the community piece, to be able to host more meetups. We do those always free of charge. To be able to host more kids classes, always free of charge. But the reason that we're doing that is because it's like a true collective, in the fact of like if you go to an artist collective and you see them that are crafting and making different, different types of art with different mediums, or if you go to a clay center and there, there's different artists using different things and they're talking about, how they're building that, or a maker space and, there's someone's tinkering with a sewing kit and someone's tinkering with robotics and, you're learning with each other. That's really neat. And then then you have the newbies, so the juniors that are learning with the seniors, and then they're teaching each other new things because, someone's using something that just came out and then someone's using a legacy product. That's where the magic happens. And that's where, I just love to see that, because we do that. We have that online via Slack. We have that space to learn, but we also provide that physical space. And that's really where we see a lot of magic happen.
Oh yeah, the power of your peers just being there. That's why you could probably use that to any industry. Like if you're an actor and you go to Hollywood and you're among other actors, or look at Hemingway, when he got into that community of other writers and yada, yada. Like if you're there with your other code developers, designers, what have you, and you could ask those like questions on the fly and have like a dialogue back and forth, the value there is just, it's amazing. You're going to be able to pick the information up that much quicker.
Yes, absolutely. It just, and it accelerates our community as well. Exactly.
And I think a big point that you brought up earlier too, what you said you do like every 5th day, I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong on that point, but is being able to have a human connections and be able, because any company could hire someone that based on their technical skill, but you ultimately, when you hire people, you want to hire people that you want to work with. So it's a huge skill to be able to communicate what you're doing and communicate with a team and be able to have a dialogue and explain what you're doing and all those things that come with it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right about the 5th day. So on those Fridays, absolutely. And I used to handle both enrollment and placement of our students, and those are really 2 outcomes that we have, or I guess you could say measurements of like how we measure success or whatnot. Those are also state mandated by the Florida Department of Education, which if you are teaching anything that is geared, to make someone job ready, career ready, then you have to be approved by the Department of Education. Just a side note for like educational startups or whatnot, it's an interesting process. It's a lengthy process, but we went through it and we did it. And so, but yeah, that alone right there is just a major piece to really, making it successful is, no matter what. So you don't have to be an extrovert and you don't have to be an introvert. And it doesn't matter either way if you are coming through, because there's so many jobs out there. And that's what I found handling the enrollment side of it was, okay, this person has a passion to learn. This person has the time commitment. They're hungry to do this. They want to be career developers. But maybe they're not the typical developer or what people think a typical developer is, or maybe they're concerned because they've never been in tech before, or maybe they're concerned because they don't have those soft skills that they've heard that they need, or they're not sure, or they don't want to. The great news about that is that there are tons of jobs out there regardless. But yes, for the most part, they are going to have to be able to do some of those soft skills, and we'll help them with that. So there's nothing to be nervous about. We don't do anything too crazy as far as, push people outside of their comfort zones, which we are really good at with code. But at the same time, it just makes them more successful being able to go out, being in the career as a developer.
Yeah, I'd also add too, you mentioned about resources online and doing it online. Suncoast does have an incredible Slack community too. I feel like this whole episode is going to be like Suncoast, yeah! But
Suncoast,
yeah. And they have there's a Slack channel for organizers like myself where we can communicate with each other. There's a whole community there that's like, hey, I can't figure X out while they're actually in the program, and even heck when they're out of the program, they're there. And there's the teachers come in, other students, can I call them students? Yeah. All right, come in, and it's just awesome that there is an online, just so people realize there is an online like community that exists that does interact, even though there is also obviously the in-person, which is I think huge, and the big thing that I think code schools like Suncoast fill is that colleges, they're just not keeping up. They're straight up not keeping up. Like with someplace like Suncoast, they can actually one year they can be focused on this, and then they're like, oh, we're noticing there's a new version of React. While a traditional college, they have to take like 3 years to suddenly be like, oh, we finally are going to add React, and it's like the first version of React. While Suncoast is like, oh, we're on version 19, or it's.
Do you mind if I just add a quick point to that too? Is that like if you look at a lot of companies now, they're not requiring that college education, like companies like Apple or Google. You don't have to have that college education, or to qualify for the position. It's do you know what you're doing? Awesome. Are you a good human being? Great. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. So I actually want to speak to 3 points with that. So I'll start with one is, yes, we are definitely like, woohoo, Suncoast. And I think that's because, Brian, you've seen the success too firsthand as far as what it does when you have a community of support. I mean, we're a very inclusive environment that wants everyone to be successful regardless of what skill level developer. And that's that. It's a safe learning environment. And if anyone is interested, go to our website, suncoast.io. And then there's a Slack channel there, and it's of course free to join. And it's literally, there's tons of channels, and Ruby, PHP, .NET, C#, you name it, it's on there. Actually all of our curriculum is also open source. So that's something that our CTO, Gavin Stark, and our CEO, Jason Perry, we have a blog about it on our website also. Like, it's open source. So you can go on there, and there's 2 reasons for it. One is, if you can do this on your own, we want to provide you with that. The other is, it only makes sense to have our community be a part of it. So developers and employers that are listening, or anyone, please go on there. And if you want to contribute, we'd love that. That's how we're going to continue to get better. And that's how our education is going to continue to be innovative and progressive. We're not going to stay stagnant. It's not the way to do it. So just like what you mentioned, as far as the colleges and universities, I'll actually speak to that a little bit in just a second, but that's how we are going to keep progressing. So please go and participate in that. And we do believe that if another code school, sure, I have my background is the business. I'm the business side here a little bit, and I was like, oh my goodness, like it's just going to be out there for anyone. But we truly believe that if someone can be teaching it better than us here, then they should be, because it's only our community that suffers. So it's going to keep us sharp. It's going to keep us ready to go. It's going to keep our community members the most educated.
Well said.
Thank you. So. Also, though, yes, woohoo, local Suncoast, but I want to highlight some other communities as well and how they can do this. So I know that our listeners are from all over the world. And if you're wondering, like, what are the plans for us? Ours is local. Ours is Tampa Bay. We are here to serve Tampa Bay. We thought, we decided that when we opened the school. Now, if other communities want to learn, we'd love to help them. That is also, later down the road as part of the vision of us, is we'd love for other communities to be able to build whatever their guild looks like. Doesn't have to be called a guild. And one of our members actually that moved to I'm not sure if it's Louisville, but a place in Kentucky. And, he literally took what we were doing there and brought it, because they didn't have a community. It was really hard. He was getting, I believe he was getting his PhD in some form of computer science. And he did not have the support system that he was used to here. And so he started it. And that's exactly, so I want to empower you all to go out and do this. If you don't have that, actually one of our alumni and another graduate from another code school from an online program in Naples, Florida is doing that. They're doing a great job. They're going to the library. That's their physical space. They've got an online Slack. They're hosting meetups, and they're making it happen. They're doing hackathons. And so you can do this wherever you want. And when I also visited a lot of those other cities, going out from, personal, but also for work, the cities that have the support system and a community in place, whether it be that physical space or whether it be that online presence, you can tell they are just it's a little bit more progressive and advanced in technology than other cities. Charlotte was like just starting to get their community going, and man, they're really taking off. Minneapolis, the biggest meetup I've ever seen, 130 some people at their JavaScript, like lots of, like wild. And one of the, companies is hosting it and someone else is, sponsoring it. And I mean, it was great seeing like the talks, and And their tech scene is booming. Las Vegas has a really great culture there as well. So, you know, if you are thinking about doing it, you can do it. And really all you need is a few developers or yourself just to get it going and make that happen. And then lastly, the third point I want to make was about the colleges. So, you know, this is an interesting problem, and we look at ourselves as complements, but yes, we can also be substitutes, but truly we are complements because we're not teaching the theory and concept. So if you are looking for theory and concept, that's not what we are. We are a trade school. We are teaching them the practical skills to code. We have had computer science majors, MS majors, entrepreneur majors come through our program because they cannot pass a code test because they're not able to teach that. One of the reasons for that is because they are accredited. We are not. We are certified as a post-secondary educational institution, again, trade vocational school. We are teaching them the craft of code, so that way when they go work for a company day one, they can go make an impact on the code base. And that's very challenging for universities and colleges that are accredited because the accreditation system is so lengthy. For some industries, that makes a lot of sense. For tech industry, absolutely not. And so they're trying to figure out how to get around that, or not get around that, but be able to give those students that want these tech heavy skills, how can they give them the resources? So for some programming languages and backgrounds, they can do that. So you might see some JavaScript classes, or you might see some SQL classes, but it's really challenging because it takes sometimes 2-3 years for a textbook, curriculum, and a professor to be approved. Well, by then it's null and void. And as you know, like you mentioned, Brian, like, yeah, like React came out and we decided like we're teaching React, and our courses are 3 months long, and then our instructors decide what they want to teach for the next cohort, and then in just a few weeks, and we are able to update our curriculum. And that's because we chose not to go the accreditation route. So some colleges and universities are starting to partner and collaborate with them through their community outreach arm. We'd love to do that with universities or colleges. We are actually in talks with a few of them around here.
That's great.
Yeah. Because, you know, that's, again, it's just educating more of the community, but it's really challenging for them. But at the same time, on the other end of it is some of our students come through and they're loving the coding so much, but they didn't have the theory and the concept, and they're actually going back, and whether it be with the company's dollar or their own personal dollars with the developer salary now, they're learning business, they're learning computer science, and they're learning like cybersecurity, some other things that actually interest them, and they're taking time to do that.
And the things that are applicable, yeah.
Yeah, one thing I absolutely love when I go there is it seems like no matter what time of the day you go, I often wonder if some of them sleep there. Like Tatiana, I'm talking to you, Tatiana. If you listen, she is literally always there. Tatiana, you're always there. It's just hilarious, and it's kind of neat because you see them rotate out. Even when they're like done, a lot of times they're still there because they just come over and they're working there. So like, you keep mentioning community. It's really, I mean, I would argue it's more of like a family. You know, the way it seems there, like you all are like the moms and dads, and these are all your kids you're taking care of.
No, thank you. I mean, our students do have 24/7 access when they come.
Oh, do they really?
Wow, that's awesome. That's a big thing to highlight.
So they just sleep there.
So we have a no sleeping. We have a cat nap policy, which I tell you what, that took me a while to say yes to. But no, you know, we have a no sleeping on campus policy, but they're able to come and go as they please. And, you know, I tell you, it's been really amazing through the years working here, seeing like some people are just super early birds. Like they come and work at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Some are night owls. So some prefer the weekends. Some just need a quiet place. And then our alumni, actually, whenever you're alumni, as long as Suncoast Developers Guild has a home, they have a home to come co-work during normal business hours for free. So free Wi-Fi and a free space to come co-work. And that is part of the community. And we do say, you know, your home away from home, where it's more like, you know, your startup, your workplace that you're integrating with your home life.
I love that. Hey, you know, I wanted to ask you, and I feel bad if I didn't get to this, that you guys tweeted out on the 19th that, and I'm going to paraphrase that, you asked, we listened, we now announcing part-time courses. Do you mind if we talk about that? Because I think that's a huge value add. Yeah,
thank you so much for highlighting that. So the developer bootcamp, the code school model, is 3 months immersive intensive. I'm not going to go too much into detail as to why that is been a proven model and it's worked. But it's very much like learning a foreign language. If you go live in France for 3 months, you're gonna be able to speak it and read it much quicker than if you are, taking it 1 night or 2 nights a week. But the reality is that it is a tuition-based program, and not everyone can stop everything they're doing and invest in themselves. And I do say invest in themselves because it's a wonderful investment for 3 months. So we want to make this education more accessible for everyone. So that's one reason. So for those that cannot quit a job or cannot, afford to take off, we're doing nights and weekends. Or maybe if they have to be taking care of, children or an elder or whatever the reason being, we wanted to offer those. So accessibility is one of the reasons. The other is the vision of Suncoast Developers Guild, and this is a big one for our CEO, Jason Perry, is that we want to be teaching all developers at all levels. So yes, our code school is primarily for those entering the tech industry, but we also want to be able to be teaching you all. So not just our alumni, but other community members. So we're doing React, and actually I think I have here a schedule. So like we're doing DevOps, which has been a huge ask. So we're starting that in June. We're doing React too. So it's like an intermediate class in April. Then we're doing another intermediate class, so HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript, like test drive. And actually, if you take that, that cost actually funnels into our immersive. So if you kind of aren't sure, if you really want to take a deep dive into it, you can just give it a little test drive. But that is just a way that we're able to engage our community. We actually have a UI UX one, so for developers. So if you're a developer and you want to refine some of your skills, and again, you just want to have like an in-class training, Sarah Veselov, one of our alumni, is teaching that. We also have Phoebe Roeder, who runs Women Who Code. She's doing digital marketing. So, we're just, whatever the community wants, we want to be able to teach. That's one of the reasons. But the other is like, what's out there and what's the need. No one's teaching iOS. No one's teaching Python. Those are on the horizon as well. What's also neat about our part-time classes, we can take those off-site. So if someone can't make it across the bridge, if anyone knows in Tampa Bay, we're able to do those elsewhere. The other reason too is so accessibility, but also for inclusivity and diversity. And the tech industry is such a rewarding and welcoming industry and field that we want to make this accessible to everyone. And so, that's just a piece to it.
I love that. Do you mind if I ask you 2 questions? The first question is, and you can tell me if you can answer this, is for the people that are listening to this, how much does it cost to, 1, take a part-time course, and 2, does that part-time course apply to the full-time program if said person wants to say, you know what, I really enjoyed this part-time course, I want to be able to apply that to the rest of what I'm going to do in the full time, because I'm going to take it, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that web development test drive class, that's the one that is the intro, the HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript. So that one is, so all of our part-time courses are $1,999. Now, for anyone listening, if you want to use the code GUILDIES, so GUILDIES, I think it takes.
You got that, Brian?
I think that takes about $800 off of the tuition there. So that's for our community members.
Wow.
Now,
I'm sorry to stop you. Just really quick. Do you mind saying that again? Because that's $800 you said?
Yeah.
What's that code again?
GUILDIES, GUILDIES.
Thank you. I just want to repeat that one more time just for our audio listeners. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it brings it down to $1,199. And by the way, we have companies that are sponsoring people, local companies and large companies that are sponsoring, so for professional development. So if you're thinking about that, we actually have one of our alumni that works for Amazon that's coming through and taking the React course to help him to, and it's being taken care of. So if you have those dollars, you're not sure how to use them, that's another reason. Exactly. Like, we heard that from our community, that they're like, we have these professional dollars, but we don't really want to go and do a business. Like, I already have a business degree or marketing or something like that. And like, I want to learn like another framework or something else. So just keep that in mind. And that's why we also want to be able to offer our community members that discount. But that intro course, that would feed into the immersive. So it would take that, like that cost would go into the normal tuition. But the other ones are that standalone price, because the UI UX, that we don't teach that in our full-time.
Awesome. Yeah, those are all exciting courses too. I know Sarah and I've talked about our course with her a bunch. It sounds like it's a really it's going to be a awesome.
We were talking to her yesterday about it.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. Yeah. Was it yesterday? I thought it was the day.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Oh yeah, the ViewConf and today, it's all merged into one.
Yeah.
But so one other thing that I know that you guys do a lot about, and I don't think, or again, we're all guild all the time here, but I think it's pretty awesome. Don't you have also local initiatives for people that are having a problem getting in? Or don't you work with a lot of people to actually get like scholarships and things like that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're passionate about diversity and inclusion. This is again that powerful education, and diversity in the tech industry, it's just not where it needs to be. And the long and the short to it is everyone uses tech, so people that are building it should be representative of everyone that's using tech. And there is the 2018 survey from Stack Overflow of 100,000 software engineers. Less than 7% are women and less than 3% are Black. And I could go into also more of the minority numbers there, but I just want to highlight those because when we opened Suncoast Developers Guild, we weren't able to offer the Iversity Scholarship yet, which we had been able to in the past. There's a few reasons behind it, but as soon as we were able to financially and via the help of some of our advisory board members, we did launch it. But we went through our first 3 cohorts without having that Diversity Scholarship. And our numbers were very much in line with those numbers from the Stack Overflow survey. And we wanted to be proactive about that. So we launched a $1,900 Iversity Scholarship, and you can go on to our website under, I think there's a scholarships tab there, and it's for any underrepresented population. It's for minorities, it's for women, it's for LGBTQ, and honestly, if there's anything that you fall under for diversity, if you fill out the application, you will absolutely be awarded it. We hope to be able to offer more scholarships in the future. It is, again, we are regulated by the state, so things have to be approved. But we'd like to do some sort of fund for vets and military. We can't take the GI Bill since we are technically a startup and we haven't been around for 2 years in operations. We can't apply for any, even though we're not for profit, we can't apply for any workforce initiative grants or the GI Bill, which this is such a great opportunity for those that are underemployed or unemployed, or for veterans that are looking to transition. So you might have, now that I mentioned it twice, it's tough for an educational startup, and it's really tough for a not-for-profit, specifically one that's bootstrapping itself to get started. So we weren't able to launch all those originally, and also because of regulations around that. But we are going to be doing things as much as we can. But yeah, $1,900 off of our $14,900 tuition, so it takes you down to $13,000. And that's, again, just to really trying to even the keel, because this education should be for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to switch to our spotlight question because we're getting to the end. But one other thing that you guys do and we'll have a link to it, is if you have a kid and you want them to get started, they also have a junior program where it's actually free, and they get to learn all sorts of awesome things. And we'll have that link in the show notes.
Oh, do you mind if I just ask quickly what's the ages for that?
Yeah. So they're 8 to 12. They're 13 to 17-year-olds. And let me tell you what, one of our alumni, Brett Macy, that works for PwC, he's teaching them Angular.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, they're learning intermediate JavaScript. They're learning what our adults are learning in these classes, and they're free. They're literally, the motivation behind these has always been to just give kids exposure to it, to say, hey, this is a potential job, a career path in the future, or hey, just to have fun and make it your hobby. That's all volunteer led, not just by our alumni, but by community members. So if anyone wants to teach or do this in their communities, It's super easy. There's tons of resources online. We can also help with that curriculum if you have a place to do it. And then, you know, just get kids and parents out there. What's really cool is seeing the parents coding with them, and they end up starting to really like it. But I tell you what, the kids are like sponges. They absorb it so quick because, you know, it's kind of like you're your own worst enemy when you're going to learn something new sometimes, and you're not sure if you can do it, or you have all these reasons. But kids, they don't think about that, because that's all they do is they're just learning, and they progress really fast. So 8 to 12, 13 to 17-year-olds, lots of different ones: gaming, Angular, HTML, CSS, but they're usually in the evenings on Mondays.
I love that. Yeah, that thing that they do for fun is going to be their career within the future. And for our audio listeners, for the scholarship, it's /academy/tuition/scholarships. So.
Yes.
And we'll have the link in the show notes. So now we're going to move into like kind of more of a personal question and answer type round. The first thing is a spotlight question, which is a group question where I ask something that's that we all answer. You go last, Toni, and it's something that's more, you know, you personally answer something that is more like directly what you would really want. Like this question is a really simple one. I'm curious what Frederick will say. Is if you were given, don't worry, you're not going to cry this time. If you were given $500 to spend on anything for yourself, anything that you wanted, what would you buy? Mine actually would be, I'd purely use that $500 for gas to like go up and take a road trip and to go camping up in the mountains somewhere, because it's been a while and I really miss that mountain air and those trails, and I need to get to it soon. Okay, Frederick, go.
Wait, what's the question? If I had $500
to spend on anything for yourself that you wanted, what would you buy? What would you spend it on?
Oh, I'd probably like buy $500 of toys for my son, just so I could see
yourself.
A smile.
Oh.
That is for myself, so I can see a smile. He wants cars and toys all the time. He's always like, I want that toy, I want this toy, I want that toy, I want a submarine. I have a 4-year-old. So yeah, just to be able to like get him all that stuff and like see his face glow, oh, that would melt my heart.
Here, I'll beat you up. Oh,
miss you, Janelle.
Yeah, we miss you, Janelle.
We do miss you, Janelle. Wish you were here tonight.
And Toni?
Toni, it's your turn.
I was gonna say something that was, you know, similar to your answer, but since you said myself, I will say myself. And this is the year of the balance for me. Last year was the year of the grind, and something that I want to get back to is one of my passions, and it's cooking. And I have been on a plant-based diet for a little over 2 years now, but like,
oh, good for you.
Thank you. I love to bake. I love to cook, but it's really hard to bake. Like, I haven't gotten used to it without eggs and milk, but
applesauce, right?
Applesauce, flaxseed, lots of baking soda, apple cider vinegar. But I would probably go do a cooking class and learn how to do some nice plant-based foods, and go to go on like a fun like shopping trip to a really healthy local grocery store. And then I would make a feast for the students and staff and make them eat all plant-based.
I love that. Yeah.
Do you know?
Do you mind me asking why you went to? I'm sorry, Brian, to interrupt you, but do you mind if I ask you why you went to a all plant-based diet?
Yeah, there's a few reasons. I'm thinking about writing a blog about it, but mainly being in an open industry like tech and open source with what we've been doing here, the industry is just way too secret for my taste. I think there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know about, and it's easy for us just to not look at it or talk about it. So that has to do with the sustainability of it. It has to do with animal rights. It has to do with health. Like, we don't know what we're eating or what they're eating or how they're treated. We don't know how far it's transported. And that's concerning to me. And honestly,
I was going to say, it's crazy how it's illegal even to film what goes on in some of these farm factories.
Yeah, and so my students were a big part of my inspiration, and also being in I was in hospitality, and I remember being taught, like, you know, you can't be you can't be a vegetarian. I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that. But you know, being in the tech industry, you can be you. It's welcome to be you and welcome to be different. And my students introduced me to almond milk, and that was it. I was like, oh, there's a substitute for milk, and they empowered me to do it. And honestly, you know, it took a weekend. Another one of my students got me a cookbook for it, and I stocked my pantry full, and haven't looked back. Also, Tampa Bay has amazing, and St. Pete has amazing vegan restaurants. So shout out to Love Food Central and Community Cafe. I get to have vegan cheesesteaks and like awesome burgers and stuff. So it's easy.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll put a link to them in the show notes.
I like the Impossible Burger a lot. And that new one in Gulfport is really good. The Golden
Oh, I've heard about that. I haven't been.
What is the name of it? It's like Golden Dragon, Golden Dinosaur, something like. I'll look it up and it'll be in the show notes. But it's mostly really good. Have you heard of Avant Garde Vegan, or the YouTube channel Avant Garde and Vegan?
No.
I'll share that with you. It's really good, and yeah, it's really good YouTube channel. He makes like bacon and everything it shows you how to make it. It's really neat. So we don't have tons of time here, but I really love the lightning round.
Let's jump into that.
We're just gonna ask you a whole bunch of questions. You just answer quick, and then we go to another question. So, and I'll be back and forth. And my first question is gonna be, what's your favorite cereal?
These are all for you, Toni.
Granola. Yeah. I don't eat cereal that much. So yeah, I would say like oatmeal. As a kid, Raisin Bran.
Okay.
Kind of vanilla.
Two Scoops of Sunshine. Toni, what's your favorite cartoon as a kid?
Tweety.
Ooh, nice.
Tweety.
Yeah.
Brian.
Pizza toppings when you had pizza. I don't know if you eat it.
Oh, I love pizza. I just do no cheese or vegan cheese, and I do like spinach and mushrooms and olives and onions and tomatoes. Oh, I love pizza.
Favorite food to eat now?
I just had that vegan pho, and it was absolutely delicious, and that was from La Vie. So yeah, that's good. With the tofu spring rolls and then like the ginger bobo tea. Woo! That's a good meal.
I love bobo tea.
And Janelle used to come, and we used to do Bobo Wednesdays, so she'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh, nice. Love that.
Awesome.
Happy day.
Last movie you saw?
I don't watch that many movies. Oh, I did watch Murder Mountain on Netflix, and that is wild. Talk about just like totally different types of love. I'm like, man, there's like, yeah, Murder Mountain on Netflix. I highly recommend.
All right, I'm gonna look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Toni, you walk home. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You open the door in your house, and there's a ghost. What do?
I go give it a big old snuggle hug because it's Rita. It's my little chihuahua, and yeah, so
that's sweet. Forget about the lightning talk questions. Tell me about your dog.
So also though, about the ghost, like if there was a ghost in my house and that chose to coexist with me in this world, in this life that I get to live, I'd say, come on, let's have some tea. Let's talk about what's going on.
Nice. No, seriously, forget about the lightning questions. Tell me more about your dog.
So Rita.
Thanks, Frederick.
You're welcome, Brian. Dog.
Rita is short for Margarita. She's 8 years old. She's usually on campus with me. She's like the school mascot. She was a rescue from her mom was a puppy, and she was a rescue birth, and she's a Chihuahua Terrier mix. She's the best thing in the world.
I love Chihuahuas so much. Yeah, they're the best. We've had 3 of them, and yeah, best dogs. Sorry, Brian, you wanted more lightning round questions? Go ahead.
No, it's good. We're about at the end. Well, I do want to give a shout out to Catherine for putting up with me, because I might have accidentally come in on the day that my meetup wasn't supposed to be, and done the meetup, and she moved it, and she's been giving me all the links and stuff while we've been talking, because she's listening in. So thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, huge shout out to Catherine. So fun fact, her title, we said, when she started, what do you want to do? Operations Unicorn. So she's literally, her title is Operations Unicorn.
Is it really?
Yeah, she does so much.
That.
She does so much. So major shout out to her. We like this place. She's the glue here. We would not be able to do, we wouldn't be able to be growing as quickly as we could, or quickly as we are without her. So thank goodness we have her.
We'll put a link to her Twitter in the show notes.
Oh yeah, please.
Toni, we're just about out of time. How can people, two last questions. First off, how can people find you, get to know more about you in Suncoast?
Yeah. Okay. So They can go Twitter. I'm at Toni Warren _. Suncoast is at Suncoast.io. Go on to our website, please. Our next immersive classes start on April 29th. If you're even considering it, I say apply. There's no cost or obligation. The reason I say apply is because, you know, if you really want to invest in yourself and do it, come on down. It's the application leads to an interview, but it's a reciprocal interview, which really means you just come and get to meet us. And listen, if we're not the answer, if we're not the right, we will help you get to your career goals as far as coding. And I just want to give a few other shout outs too. I have Liz Tiller, who is teaching our intro to web development, and then also volunteers her time to organize the Kids Academy along with Taylor Cox. Both are just amazing women in the community. And then Mark Dewey is our .NET and C#, but he's also, you know, teaches full stack for us. And he is just an amazing player, does so much for our community as well. So I just want to make sure to give them some love too.
Oh, that's awesome. And last question is, do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience? Anything that you'd like to say?
Yeah. So I just recently read a book by Malcolm Gladwell called David and Goliath that, again, my sister Samantha, she gave me. And it's about like underdogs and misfits being able to do things differently. So we're our own worst enemy sometimes, and we stop us from achieving our goals and our dreams. So like if we have a stereotype that's on us, just break it. Like totally break it and do whatever you think and that you think you know you can do, and try it, because oftentimes it's those that are the ones breaking things, as you all should know as you're coding, that create some of the most beautiful things, the most innovative things. So don't let anything stop you because maybe no one like you or with your skills has done it in the past, and just go forth and be awesome.
Oh, go forth and be awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, you know, a lot of times we hear so many people that might not believe in us or support us, but it's, you know, when you wake up every day, it's you that has to believe in you and support you and, make your dreams come true. So that's a really important message.
That's right. And it's your success story. And seriously, thank you all so much. Like, thank you to Thunder Nerds. This has been a really incredible opportunity, and y'all support in what you're doing, and you're making it fun. So that's the other part, is like, just have fun, right? Like, it's one life to live. It's your life. And having you all do this, like what a blast. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, we have fun doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on, Toni, and talking about, you know, one, yourself, and two, about Suncoast, because it's a really important thing that you're doing, and providing the community with such a vehicle to improve and help everyone's livelihood and career, and just make everybody's day a little bit better.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching and tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.